Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Shapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Radhikam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So where are we in our text?
We're on page 34, the Sanskrit verse that begins with Sri Rama.
So here Vidyaranya is explaining and quoting a section from Yoga Vasishta. So that's what's going on here. Going on.
Sri Rama Brahma Nivedeha Muktasya Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam Bruhi Yena Tathevaham Yate Shastra Jaya Drisha. Sri Rama, O Brahman, tell me the peculiarities of Videha Mukta and Jivan Mukta, so that I may try towards that end, according to the directions of the scriptures.
So the scriptures talk about these two states being Jivan Mukta, liberated while yet alive in this very body, and Videha Mukta, liberated beyond the body. The ordinary outer understanding, Videha Moksha, you are a good person, you do all the appropriate rituals, you expiate your papam, you accrue punya, so that when you die, you go to Brahmaloka, and at the end of the age, you are liberated when the universe dissolves. Jivan Mukta is when someone attains self-realization in this very life. What are the marks of the person of realization? First and foremost, she knows I am not the body. I am not the subtle body. I am Atma, Brahma. This self is Brahman. Aham Brahma. Now listen carefully. Do we have any actual evidence in the set of the soul at the end of the age? I certainly don't. And if we understand that the mark of the person of steady wisdom is they know they are not the body, then the deeper understanding of this is Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukta are the same thing. What does Videha Moksha mean? Videha Mukta. It means liberation beyond the body. What is the mark of the person of steady wisdom? They know they're not the body. What concern have I for this body? It's like a shadow. Chidananda Rupa. I'm already bliss consciousness. So we can look to the scriptures with their various cosmologies, their various eschatologies. What are eschatologies? What happens at the end of time, at the end of our life? Where are we going to go? And what we know for sure, we do not know. So yoga focuses not on some afterlife state. I've always found it very interesting in the Christian tradition. You have infinite results for finite actions. One of my bosses, when I was working for the church as a musician, used to say, after I die and there's no heaven, I'm going to be very pissed. He did a lot of self-denial as a priest. So yoga thunders. Okay, let's say when you die, lights out. That's it. You have your linear experience, your 70, 80, 90 years. Now, how can we maximize the quality of life in this very life and be of maximum service to the society? We still come with the Vedanta. It's the most intelligent way to live. Any thoughts on this? So let's see what Vasishta says in the mouth of Vasishta talking to Ram. Going on.
Vasishta. Yatha sthiti tat midam yasya vyavahara vato apicha astam gatam sthitam vyoma sa jivan mukta uchyate. Idam pratiyamanam giri nadi samudradikam jagat pratipattu देहेन्द्रिय व्यवहारेण सह महाप्रलये परमेश्वरे नोपसंहृतम् सत्स्वरूप उपमर्देनास्तं गतं भवति अत्र तु न तथा किं तु विद्यत एव देहेन्द्रियादि व्यवहारः गिरिनद्यादिकं च परमेश्वरेण नुपसहृतत्वाद् यथा पूर्वमवतिष्ठमानं सत्सर्वैरन्यैः प्रणिभिर्विस्पष्टमवलोक्यते जीवन्मुक्तस्य तत्प्रत्यायगधिवृत्त्यभावात् सुषुप्ताविव सर्वमस्तं गतं भवति यस्यं प्रकाशमानं चिद्व्योम केवलमवशिष्यते बद्धस्य सुषुप्तौ तात्कालिकधीवृत्तभावसाम्येऽपि भावेऽधिवृत्तिबीज सद्भावान् जीवन्मुक्तत्वम् Vasishtha. He is the Jivan Mukta to whom this world of senses has ceased to exist, although he lives and moves in it, and only the all-pervading Vyoman, i.e. knowledge, exists. This apparent world of mountains, rivers, and oceans, etc., along with the perceiving individuals and their body and senses, etc., have been dissolved by the great Lord at the end of a cycle, devoid of forms since destroyed, becomes non-existent. But in this case, it is not so, because body, senses, and their use remain functioning. The mountains, rivers, etc., not being withdrawn by the great Lord, existent as before, are perceived by other beings clearly. But in the case of the Jivan Mukta, since there is no mental transformation, everything becomes non-existent as in deep sleep. The self-effulgent, all-pervading intelligence alone remains. During deep sleep, the absence of mental transformation is, for the time being, equal to that of a Jivan Mukta, but it cannot be equated with the state of a Jivan Mukta, since in deep sleep there remain the seeds for future mental transformations.
So in the state of samadhi, the thoughting stops. There is no experience of a sense of individuality or of the phenomenal world in the state of nirvikalpa samadhi. In that sense, it's like deep sleep. But unlike deep sleep, there's not the primary veil of ignorance. But there's a deeper understanding, what we call sahaja samadhi. Now, the scriptures give us two classic metaphors, examples. We have snake in the rope, mirage waters in the desert. Snake in the rope is like nirvikalpa samadhi. In other words, when I understand that the snake is not real and I reach down and I say, yes, it's a rope. Snake is gone. Snake never was. It was in my imagination. Poof. It is not available for perception. Just rope. Mirage waters in the desert. When I'm in ignorance Senses report water, knowledge is water. When I understand it's a mirage, senses continue to report water, but my knowledge is sand. So for the person in ignorance, I am the body, or the body plus the personality. The world out there is real, inherently joy-giving and misery-producing. And I have this existential feeling there's not enough. More, better, different. I'll be happy when. And that seems so real. It is just as real to the egocentric mind as the dream state is to the dreamer. But for the Jivan Mukta, she knows the Chidabhasa, this reflection of consciousness in the subtle intellect. It's not fundamentally an entity, and it's not real. It's imagination. And the world is mental imagery. How does it come about in Yoga Vasishta? Sankalpena, by means of imagination. So it doesn't mean that the Jivan Mukta walks around, I can't see a world. No. The names and forms are still perceived, but her knowledge is Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. It's all consciousness. Now she may lapse into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Then the world and the individual knower of the world is gone. You and I still may see the world. For her, it's gone. But when she comes out of Nirvikalpa, knowledge is Brahma Satyam Jagan Vidya. This we call Sahaja Samadhi, natural or continuous samadhi. It's not dependent on some mind state. Any thoughts on this? Sounds good to me, Jim. How do I get there? Jnana Abhyasa. Now, Vidyaranya is extensively quoting Yoga Vasishta in this section. In Viveka Chudamani, Shankara gives us 7 questions. Yoga Vasishta gives us 3. Who am I? What is this world? And how has it come about? Who am I? Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. What is this world? Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. This world and everything in it is nothing but Brahman. But I see names and forms. How have they come about? Sankalpena, by means of imagination. We have Ishwara's Sankalpa, which is what creates the stars, the seas, the trees, everything. Listen carefully. They are essentially neutral. They're not good or bad, right or wrong, joy-giving or misery-producing. Then you and I superimpose our own imagination on that world. I love him. He makes me so happy. She is a B word. She's so nasty. It's all my mind. All my mind. So this jnana abhyasa, we have to thoroughly convince ourselves through rational analysis, based on what the scriptures teach. All my opinions about the world, without exception, are just projection. What I practice is letting it all go. Letting the sensory data just pass through. Practice this emptiness of mind. So the scriptures essentially address 4 different samadhis. They can be broken down even further. When you get into Yoga Sutra, they'll break it down even more. But for our basic understanding, we need to understand 4. The first is Jada Samadhi, which is frequently experienced by the Hatha yogis. They maintain all their attachments and identifications, but they do pranayama and they huff and they puff and you do the bandhas. And what happens, you may have hyperventilation and a euphoric state. The mind may actually stop for a bit, but the experience is, I see nothing, and I, the individual, am still there, solid as a rock. Why? What holds the individuality in place? Vasana. Then we have Savikalpa Samadhi. This is the technical term we use for when we get tuned up. Mind is intensely introverted. We are at the, as it were, at the doorway of the infinite. At times, the unreality may slip away, but it comes back. We keep practicing, renouncing our attachment, renouncing our identification. And when the last attachment is removed, when the last identification is removed, the mind stops. Personal sense of self evaporates. Sometimes it's this profound experience where one goes into samadhi for some time, even up to hours at a time. I have come to see that for some people, it only need be a moment. It's just a shift. I think there's some scripture, I don't know which one, that says if it lasts at least 7 seconds, it will do its work. Then, when the mind returns from samadhi, it is conditioned by that experience. The mind sees its own fundamental unreality. It has the realization, oh, only the self is real. All my stupid ideas are not real. I just saw them disappear. Technically speaking, any time the mind is freed from thought, the word the scriptures use is vimarsha, deliberation. That's nearly called the samadhi. And all of us have what are called fleeting samadhis all the time. We miss them because the attentive faculty is turned outward. But if you tune up the mind, just listen to the traffic. And then just notice who hears it. Even if it's just a, it's enough. You see, oh, that space. There's no person there. That's enough. Now, if I can live from that knowledge, that is Sahajasana. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Vashishta. No deti nastamayati sukhe dukhe mukha prabha. Yatha prapte sthitirasya sa Jivan Mukta uchyate. Mukh prabha harsha. Srak chanda nasatkara de sukhe prapte api sansarina eva harsho nodeti. Mukha prabhasta mayo danyam. Dhana hani धिक्कारदि दुःखे प्राप्ते अपि न दीनो भवति. इदानीं न स्वप्रयत्न विशेषमन्तरेण प्रारब्ध कर्मा पादित पूर्वप्रवाह गत भिक्षानादिकं यथा प्राप्तं तस्मिन् स्थितिर्दहरक्षा. समाधि दाहरेण्य सृक् चन्दनादि bhavat. Kadachit vyut- vyuthana dashayama patataha pratita vapi vivekadarye naiva heyopa de deyata buddha yabhavat dharshadi rahitya mupapadyate. Vasishtha, whose face neither beams in pleasure nor becomes drawn in pain, whose body is maintained by chance feeding alone, he is called the Jivan Mukta.
And here meaning, the body, mind, intellect moves through the world according to its prada, that's simply the force of its past and the desires of other people. But the Jivan Mukta no longer invests in the world with any serious joy giving or misery producing problems. Inside, Shitala, another word we get from Yoga Vasishtha, coolness. I'm sorry, going on. Did I interrupt you?
Yeah, it's okay. Facial glow indicates happiness. Even after receiving garlands of flowers, sandal paste, and honor, which cause pleasure, his face, unlike ordinary mortals, does not flush. Disappearance of flush indicates affliction. Loss of wealth, opprobrium, etc., which cause grief to others, but a Jivan Mukta is not affected. Yatha praptam, whatever comes of its own accord, means without any effort at the present time, alms, etc., brought about by the prarabdha karma through the usual course. Tasmin sthiti, remain on that, means maintenance of body. When in intense concentration, he is unaware of garland of flowers, etc. Though when arisen from such meditation, apparently he perceives such objects. By the sheer strength of discrimination, he has no thought of accepting or rejecting a thing. Hence, absence of pleasure, etc., is justified.
Yes. So the surface part of the mind interacts with the world. Yes, you will have preferences, but inside, shunyata, emptiness. No real concern for this world or the body, mind, intellect. The woman of steady wisdom sees her body like a shadow. I walk out of the house at 4 in the afternoon. Oh, look how long my shadow is. Isn't that cool? And if we go to lunch at noon, my shadow's very little. You see it, you notice it, but no concern for it. And when the sky is overcast, no shadow. So also for the woman of steady wisdom. Even dying is perfectly safe. This is the mark of the woman of steady wisdom, the Jivan Mukta. But remember, by this definition, she is also Videha. Don't have to wait for some state after you. Going on.
Vasishtha. Yo jagarti sushupti stho yasya jagran vidyate yasya nirvasano bodhah sa jivan mukta uchyate. Chakshuradi indriyanam swagolakeshva vasthane noparatya bhavajagarti. Manovritti rahitatvat sushuptistha. Ata eva indriya rathopalabdhihi ityetasya jagaran lakshanasya bhavajagran vidyate. Satyapi bodhe jayamano brahmavitva bhimanadi bhirbhogartha padita kamadi bhishcha dhidosho vasana vrittirahitena tadosha bhavani vasanatam. Vasishtha. He is called a Jivan Mukta who is awake, though in deep sleep, for whom there is no waking state, and whose knowledge is devoid of desires. Awake, Jagarti, because all his eyes, etc., senses are functioning in their respective places. In deep sleep, Sushuptistha, because of the absence of the mental states. No wakeful state, Jagrana vidyate, because waking state is known by the perceiving of objects through senses, which is not there. Knowledge devoid of desires, nirvasana bodha, because even in knowledge such pride as I am the knower of Brahman arises. Again, by the objects of enjoyment, the desires, etc., are generated. These and the pride tarnish the mind, which tarnish is vasana. Since his mind is free from such transformations, such taints are absent.
So the point here is, it's as if, well, we'll use a quote from second chapter of Gita. The yogi is to the how's it go? What is night to the yogi is day to the ordinary person, and what is day to the yogi is night to the ordinary person. What does it mean? To the ordinary person, I am an individual, I am my body, and what is my playground is the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts, people, places, things, and conditions. More, better, different, cash, and prizes. And that's real for them. To the yogi, Jesus lead to it. Means nothing to It's like when a child brings home finger painting from first grade. Mommy says, "Oh, that's so lovely, dear." And it's precious because my child did it. But is it a Michelangelo? No. And the yogi, she has her own playground. It's Atmaram, this reveling in the halls of Vedanta. Soaking the mind in the Lord. Oh, drowning the mind. Ordinary folk out there don't even know it exists. And I believe this is what the Master Jesus meant when he said, "My kingdom is not of this world. I give you a peace that passes all understanding." And this kingdom is independent of the circumstances. Any thoughts on this? All right, next verse. Are you guys still there online? I'm seeing only little icon-y things.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here.
Vasishtha. Raga Dvesha Bhayadina Manurupam Charannapi Yonta Vyartho Mavadatyaschaha Sa Jivan Mukta Uchyate Raganurupam Bhojanadi Priya Vrittihi Dveshanurupam Bodha Kapalikadhibhyo Vimukhatvam Bhayanurupam Sarpavyadhradibhyo Apsar Arpanam Adishabdena Matsayanurupa Mitra Yogibhya Adhikena Samadhyanushtanam Satyapi Vyuthana Dashaya Midrisha Acharane Purva Bhyasena Prapite Vishranta Chittasya Kalushya Rahita Tvadyachatvam Yatha Vyomni Dhuma Dhule Me Ghate Yukte Api nirle, nirlepaswa, lepaswa bhava tattvadishayena swachhatat swachhatvam tadvat. Vashishtha. He is the Jivan Mukta who, although responsive to the spurs of love, hate, fear, and the like, is absolutely pure in heart as the Akasha. Responses to love, etc., are of such nature as eating, etc., to hatred, such as turning away from the bodhas, kapalikas, etc., and to fear, such as to move away from snakes, tigers, etc. Other stimulations, such as jealousy, is responded by the heightened practice of concentration from other yogis. During the interval, though such accustomed behavior is found, the mind remains pure because it has attained tranquility, as the sky, in spite of the presence of dust, smoke, clouds, etc., remains clear, which is its nature.
So again, this idea of the surface part of the mind continues to interact with the world. But inside is that emptiness. If annoyance arises, it's so far away, it's over there. Oh, look at annoyance. Or if attraction arises, it's way over there. Oh, look. She may choose to act on it, she may choose not to. She's always at choice with the activity of them. And if there's a reaction that we in the world would call an affliction, a klesha, she has no secondary mind about it. Oh, I reacted. I'm a terrible yogi. None of that. There was a thought in the prior shloka which I do want to point out. And that is the thought, oh, I'm an over Brahman. That becomes another possession. Another real impediment to peace. Be Brahman. Don't just be a knower of Brahman. That's an unreally notion. If we give up trying to be a goody-goody yogi, then when afflicting mind states arise, we don't get that secondary beat up about them. Now, this is not license to bad behavior. And always understand the dharma of the body is karma. It's not, oh, I need to get in touch with my feelings and go out with what my feelings are about this and that. You can do that. But yoga might say, why not try changing your actions and see whether or not the world doesn't respond differently. I was talking with someone yesterday, and they're a spiritual person, mostly in Western traditions, but they use the word karma. I stopped and I said, what does karma mean? He couldn't answer the question. So what does karma mean? What's the dictionary definition in Sanskrit of the word karma?
Work or action.
Yeah. What is the law of karma?
Every action has a equal reaction.
Yeah. Does it say anything about your feelings? Does it? Yes, no?
No.
Yeah. There's an old maxim in the West. We judge ourselves by our intentions. The world judges us by our actions. The law of karma. It's like when you drop a pebble into a pond of water. The ripples go out, they hit the edge, and the energy comes back. Very simple. Now there are layers of implication. We do not get what we want in this world. That's our common experience. We don't even get what we need. That's a misnomer that a lot of people have. Oh, God never gives me anything that I can't handle. I always get what I need. That's not true. Just walk around Lake Merritt, see the homeless people. What we get is the inevitable force of our past actions returning. Not just in this life, but in many, many, many previous lives. At the level of the body. Now, the mind and intellect can react to the body's conditions or not. And the self has no karma. Aham nirkarma, without karma. If we practice titiksha, forbearance, capacity to endure the vicissitudes of life without the need for redress or revenge. We listen to all the turmoil in the Middle East right now, where it's all so in politics, all based on getting back, getting even, escalating, revenge. all it does is perpetuate karmic environments. So Tatiksha says we have a point of power. The point of power is, what do we do when perceived negative things come our way? The foolish man says, "You did this to me. You have the power to make me feel so bad," which is all a lie. What's the truth? We don't get what we want. We don't get what we need. We get the inevitable results of our prior actions. If the universe is delivering something to me that is unpleasant, at some level, I'm getting the inevitable results of past actions. It does no good to go causation hunting. What we need to do is change the reinfection of thought, feeling, and action based on it. There's a section in the Christian Bible that many people don't understand thoroughly, where Jesus says, turn the other cheek. If someone slaps you in the face, don't slap them back. Turn the other cheek. If the Roman soldier says, here, carry my pack for a mile, carry it for 2. If someone steals your cloak, give them your coat. What does it do? He was dealing with the law of karma. Return good for evil. Why? You don't get a gold star from God. You don't get to go, look at me, I'm just so holy. It's not the point. The point is we break these perpetuating karmic chains. Or as Gandhi used to say, if we keep doing an eye for an eye, in time the whole world will be blind. But karma is only the dharma of the body. If I can step back, understand prarabdha, just the force of the past maturing. Practice this titiksha, this forbearance, this santosha, contentment. Give up this notion rooted in Maya. Happiness is caused by the externals. Then I have some independence. I have real personal freedom. This is Jivan Mukti, being a liberated personality. I'm free from being blown about by the winds of change of this world. But most of us in ignorance are playing whack-a-mole with the circumstances of the world. And it's exhausting after a while. The world just won't behave. It's my husband, it's my wife, it's my children, it's my job, it's my home, it's the politics, it's the weather. It's always out there. There's no end to it. It's like getting out your Uzi to try to shoot down the rainbow in the sky. I don't care how powerful your gun is. What does it do to the rainbow? Why? Because the rainbow isn't a thing per se. It's an optical illusion. All right, one more.
Vasishtha. Yasya naham krito bhavo buddhirasya na lipyate karvato kurvato vapi sa jivan mukta uchyate. Purvadharam vidvat sannyasa prastave vyakyatam loke badhyasya purushasya shastriyam karma kurvatah aham karta iti chidatmaham krito bhavati bhavi swargam prapsyami iti harshena buddhirlipyate akurvatastu tyaktavanasmi ityahankritatvam swargalabhaveshado lepaha evam pratishidha karmani laukika karmani cha yatha sambhavam yojaniyam jivan muktasya tu tadatmya dhyasabhava dharshadhya bhavacha na doshadvayam. Vasishtha. He is the Jivan Mukta whose inner self is not affected by egotism and whose mind is free from all modifications in spite of his being engaged in shastric activities or not. The first part of this verse has been explained in the Vidvat Sannyas section. When an individual in bondage performs some rite according to the scripture, his self is affected as I am the doer, and his mind undergoes transformation with the pleasant thought, I will go to paradise. And while not performing becomes affected as I have given it up, and the sorry state of the mind is due to the loss of paradise. In this manner, this should be understood in reference to other secular actions and actions prohibited in the scriptures. The Jivan Mukta is free from both because he has neither the superimposed identification nor the pleasure, etc.
So here he's using the enjoined rituals primarily from the Brahmin caste to explain this. So for the ego-identified person, if I do my yajna, if I do my puja, I will get the desired result, or at least I'll feel good while I do it. I do puja because it brings me peace to love the God. Oh, that's fine. And what happens if you can't do puja? Oh, I'm sad. And he says, now we just take that as a metaphor for the secular world. When I get to study dance, I feel so alive. When I'm away from the dance studio, can't do it. I love to go to the symphony. Oh, I love to go to the symphony. It brings me such joy. Can't go. No joy. So the egocentric person bases their sense of joy on the capacity to do the actions that bring them joy. Problem is, all actions can produce artha only. Artha means wealth. Wealth here in the broadest sense means good stuff. And all artha is temporary. They work hard, practice, 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 go out and get to do a fabulous dance concert. And after a couple hours, what happens?
The joy is gone. It's over.
Dance is over. Now clean up the mess. And that's with everything in this world. There's nothing wrong with this. What's wrong is when I have a false expectation of it. Listen carefully. Vedanta never says to not enjoy the world. The world's not bad. What's the difference between the bhogi and the yogi when they enjoy the world? The bhogi, the fool, when desire and object of desire become one, the mind stops and he thinks the object is where the joy is. The yogi may enjoy the same object or activity. When desire and object of desire become one and the mind stops, she thinks, that really stopped my mind. And knowing that it's the mediated taste of myself, no attachment. We yogis, it's not about being a dour, glum lot moving through life with a tasteless world. It's knowing what the world can deliver. Yeah. I'll say trinkets and baubles. Yoga Vasishta will use the terminology. It's not the chintamani, the wish-fulfilling gem. It's just pieces of colored glass. But pieces of colored glass can be pretty. We just don't have a false expectation of what the world. Swamiji loved to have a good time. He had a good time all the time. He would laugh. He would sport with the world. But always let it go. No attach. Now we can't fool ourselves. If we have no Atmaramana, the mind will attach to the world. Why? Remember what I call the ruthless rule of the mind. The mind will return to the experience that's given it the greatest joy. This is why addiction is so difficult to break. What is the addict? The addict is the person who has found some external, worldly experience that gives them great joy, even though it's laced with destruction and terrible suffering. Thank God. God is the most beloved. We'd all be screwed. Okay, good place to stop today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha. Hari